Alright, so let me tell you about Lombre, yet another cool Generation 3 Pokemon that for some reason Scarlet and Violet decided to throw another lore curveball toward, basically in the same boat as its cousin Nuzleaf. Both of these evolution lines being counterparts introduced in Ruby and Sapphire. While Shiftry got a brand new ability and some deeper connections to its yokai inspiration, the Ludicolo line didn't get all too much except for a random Pokedex entry for its middle stage evolution. As I've alluded to before, Lombre itself is based on a very popular yokai known as the KAPPA. These are funny little creatures resembling turtle men that live in the water. Descriptions throughout history vary, once stating them to be dangerous if spotted and violent toward humans, but more recently shifted to be friendlier and able to interact with humans to a greater degree. Possessed of a keen knowledge, KAPPA are one of the few yokai able to learn human languages. They are highly knowledgeable about medicine and the art of setting bones. According to legend, friendly KAPPA taught these skills to humans. For fun, they love causing mischief, practicing martial arts like sumo wrestling, and playing games of skill like shogi. So it's one of those yokai that can't really all be shoved into one box. They've all got different personalities. And Lombre's Pokedex entries throughout the years have described it as a fun-loving prankster. Lombre is nocturnal, it will get active after dusk. It is also a mischief maker. When this Pokemon spots anglers, it tugs on their fishing lines from beneath the surface and enjoys their consternation. I find it interesting that Lombre is the only one to have these traits out of the family. Lotad is often characterized by its love of clean water and ponds, or how it went from living on land to living in water. Ludicolo is said to love dancing and music. Lombre is the one that most resembles a KAPPA in lore and appearance. And I've gotta say, I love how it incorporates that into its design, with how the lily pad is like the dish on the head of a KAPPA, while also looking like a large hat or sombrero that it's named after. Sure, the English name Lombre is a combination of lily and hombre, the Spanish word for man, but its Japanese name Hasubrero is a combination of hasu, the Japanese word for lotus, and sombrero, which you probably know is the Spanish word for hat. Siempre fue mexicano. Anyway, with its return in the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Teal Mask DLC, we find them in abundance with a brand new Pokedex entry. Old folklore in Kitakami tells of a mischievous child who was reborn as a Pokemon. What? You know, I find it funny that it doesn't even really say what Pokemon the child was reborn as, but I assume it was a Lombre. Again, just like Shiftry's weird new Pokedex entry, this is prefaced as not necessarily being true. It's even specifically said to be folklore from Kitakami. I think it's interesting that we still get stories of humans transforming into Pokemon at all in these games. I imagine this is something told to the children of Kitakami to get them to behave. Something like, oh, stop playing pranks or else you'll turn into one of those stinky Lombre down by the river. And I'm a big fan of using a smaller location like this that's a little disconnected from the rest of the world to do so. Of course, they would have folklore and legends pretty well preserved that's different from what we hear in the rest of the world. I did always really like Lombre, I think especially because we saw it in the anime as one of Brock's Pokemon. It was pretty cool that it got to go through the entire evolution and ended as a Ludicolo, but I was always a fan of Lombre the most. Something about it stood out from the others as a cool little dude. I do remember there was one episode where Lotad first evolved into Lombre just as the group had happened to arrive in a town where the springs are dried up, supposedly due to a soul rock that had landed in the area. There's a local legend of the great water lord Lombre who's said to help in times of need, so Lombre appearing at this point in time seems like a sign to them. Of course, all the townspeople wear Lombre inspired hats and they all try doing a rain dance, and it's a fun little time, especially with how Lombre is now starting to further develop its goofy personality. Rather than warding off the soul rock, the two become quick friends and they dance together. Predictably, the actual culprit behind the water shortage is Team Rocket pumping the water and bottling it up, even now setting their sights on Lombre as a gift for the boss. They show up in a KAPPA inspired robot and the big battle of the episode ensues, with Solrock joining in to help protect the people. Though after they defeat Team Rocket, there's a mishap where Solrock gets out of control, though they cool it off with a bunch of water and it results in a storm to refill the spring. And so the townspeople accept it as their new guardian. Overall, this is one of those nice little fun episodes. It's goofy, it's neat, it has some cool Pokemon, but there's still some important stuff happening. I like how it's able to kind of incorporate some of the KAPPA mythology in the way of them being helpful to humans at times, with how there's a local legend about Lombre, but it's nice that it's a dual debut episode with how Solrock appears as well. Really a great way to incorporate both of these Pokemon. Though I kind of wish everyone would have at least kept their Lombre hats, I would definitely buy those in real life. And I just really wanted to focus on Lombre, especially with this new Pokedex entry. At times a little overshadowed by the other Pokemon in its family, but I'm glad it gets to keep its uniqueness with this new little lore that's specific to Kitakami. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm just glad I was able to make this video right after the DLC leading up to spooky season and technically still during Hispanic Heritage Month. That is a 3 for 1. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators, Cheeseburger Lasers, Justin R, Cosmo Zero, Lil Swiss, Meme Supreme, Mochizuki Yoru, Nomad Nobi, Phantom, Quago, Taishirai, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you would like to support, get your name shouted out here as well as access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this has been GatorX. I'll catch you all later.
Pokemon evolving?
This is awesome!
Good idea. Trainers evolving?
What do you think?
Bad idea.
Oh, I can't look.
Pokemon Advanced, coming up next right here on Kids WB.